What happens when life forces a transition? What happens when a relationship ends, a career shifts, a family structure changes, your health is challenged, or the way you have been living no longer works? Most people are not prepared for those moments, not because they are weak, but because transition is rarely explained well. People are often told to stay strong, push through, or give it time, but in reality, major life disruption usually requires more than encouragement. It requires a framework based on a concept I called transformational resilience. Over time, I noticed a pattern that appears again and again in people's lives. Life moves through transitions. Relationships evolve, careers shift, families restructure. Parents move from one household to two. Children grow and enter new stages of life. Leaders step into roles that demand a different version of themselves. In many of these moments, there is a point where the old way of doing things no longer works. I tend to refer to that moment as collapse. Collapse does not always mean something catastrophic. Often it simply means the previous structure has reached its limit. The system that once worked can no longer support the next phase of life. The inspiration for this work did not come from theory alone. It came from experience. I spent more than 2 decades serving on active duty in the United States Air Force and the United States Space Force. Military life alone introduces constant transitions, new assignments, relocations, changing responsibilities, long periods of uncertainty. Along the way, I also experienced many of the same challenges that millions of people face: divorce, child custody battles, and navigating life as a father across 2 households. Periods of mental health strain, physical health challenges, financial collapse, and the long process of rebuilding. Each of those moments forced a difficult question. What do you do when the structure of your life no longer works? Through those experiences, I began studying how people move through disruption and rebuild stability. Over time, I organized those observations into a framework I call C2R2E. C2R2E stands for Collapse, Confrontation, Realignment, Reclamation, and Elevation. It is a model for understanding how people move from disruption to clarity, from breakdown to rebuilding, and eventually toward a stronger and more intentional direction in life. This framework now appears across many areas of my work. After divorce, when families rebuild parenting structures; during career shifts, when someone enters a new professional path; in leadership, when responsibility grows and old habits stop working; in personal growth, when someone decides the person they were is no longer the person they want to be. Life will always contain transitions. Transformational resilience is about learning how to move through those transitions with structure, clarity, and intention. The question is not whether change will come. The question is how you will respond when it does. Before this video ends, take a moment to reflect. Where in your life are you experiencing transition? What no longer works the way it used to? And what would it look like to approach that moment with structure, clarity, and intention? Wherever you may be in that process, this work exists to help you understand transition more clearly and move through it more intentionally. Thank you for taking the time to be here. If you would like to learn more about my work, subscribe to this channel or visit my website. The link will be in the description. See you next time.